Are we live? Good. So we'll call the meeting to order, and we respectfully acknowledge that we live and work in Mi'kmaq as the stewards of the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people. The approval of the agenda. We have a couple of changes. Update to remove item 8.4 and 13.1. Update it to remove 8.2 and 10.1 and add 13.2 in camera item. And an update to add 11.1, letter from Nelson Bezanson regarding 40's boundary. And I think that was it. Does anybody else have any changes? Oh.
Yes, I'd like to add Municipal Awareness Week.
Okay.
And secondly, oat and a boat in my district.
Oat and a boat. Been a while. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to add a verbal report for Church Memorial Park.
Okay. That it? Somebody
Motion
want
to
to
approve the agenda as amended.
seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, just a little, we've made some updates on the public input session, so I'll just read some highlights. Public input is 15 minutes. This is for people who do not have appointments. Each person is limited to 5 minutes, with the entire public session not to exceed 15 minutes. Each person must state their name and address, which they always have done. Questions or comments are be directed to the chair. That's normal. And comments are open to any municipal matter. So that's just an update. So our first appointment is not till 9 o'clock, so we'll deal with the minutes, council minutes, September the 11th. Errors or omissions?
I'll move we approve minutes.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Council May the 15th, and there is one item. Pam missed this and would have been in the minutes. She wasn't present. When I typed the minutes, I was watching the video and missed the motion that dealt with an amendment to the motion regarding Private Ways Act. So that would be added to it. Other than that, somebody want to move the approval with that change? Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Well, I didn't see very many hands go up. Okay, 5.3, special council meeting, September the 16th. Errors or omissions?
I'll move they be approved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Council emergency meeting, September 18th.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. There you go. Proclamations and designations, I'm not aware of any. I'm not missing anything, am I? I don't know. Oh, yeah, you're right. I did, yeah, I went through all the details of public input, then forgot to ask anybody if they had anything they want to say. That doesn't have an appointment. Oh, okay. I'm going to blame it on the fact that I got a really sore back and it's hard to even breathe. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, so we're down to that part. Well, committee reports, we'll do it. We got a couple minutes left. Recreation parks?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Thank you. We met on September the 15th and to discuss, received two grant requests, and they're here in front of you. Two individuals are going to the same soccer championship, and they didn't have a lot of money left, so they didn't want to completely deplete it because there's still another quarter left. So therefore, the two requests, we agreed to give each $350. So I would move those two motions, 2025-426 and 2025-427.
You have a seconder?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Fire Advisory Committee, I forget who does that one. Oh, that one you? Yeah, okay.
The mics aren't queuing today, just so you
Okay.
know, so once you turn it on, it's on.
Thank you, Warden Weber. Through you to the council and the public. On September 17th, Councillor Cool and I attended the Fire Advisory Committee meeting at the Forest Heights Community School. There was a good turnout by most all the fire services, as well as a discussion on recruitment and retention, which again is an ongoing challenge that's been around for a long time. There's some new opportunity in our municipality. There's a couple of folks that have taken a real initiative to work together and see how they can encourage people to become aware, most of all, and then second, how to become involved if they're interested. And all the fire services are, holding their own, let's put it that way, but they're always looking for more membership and more flexibility. And one of the things they discussed was that it doesn't matter what you have to offer, there's always a position pretty well available to help in some manner. If you like fundraising, if you like working in the community, if you like just being a runner, there's all kinds of opportunities. So I encourage anyone that's interested in joining an emergency first responder service like the fire service to contact their local fire department. And it was a very productive meeting. I felt it had lots of good discussion. They re-elected a chair. Mr. Leonard Stevens from Chester Basin was elected as the chair, and Mr. Colin McDonald from Chester was re-elected as the vice chair. They have several committees working on different topics, and of course, this year the discussion for lots of fire departments was water. With such a dry situation and such demand for, for our forest fires and other things, it's become very taxing on equipment and their personnel. So there's been some challenges there, but they've handled them well and they've worked together well. So there was a good round discussion on that. There was a motion put forward, moved by Chief Coolin, seconded by Robert Williams, that council direct staff to research and initiate a campaign regarding overgrown bushes and trees on public and private roads in the municipality. And we all know that is an issue. Yeah. We actually had a discussion with DOT about that earlier this week. Exactly. I've written a private note to the DOT, Public Works, requesting that being addressed. I think we all understand. And the bigger thing is the private driveways. There's a huge amount of people that have long, twisty, turny driveways, and they forget fire apparatus in most cases are big units.
Yeah,
so
trying to get up.
Yeah, so anyhow, it's again an awareness thing. They wanted to know if we could do more, and
Oh, we can add some stuff to the newsletter.
Right, exactly, and we have to do a
concept,
better communications link for
can't
many
make
of our
them do it,
things.
but-
No, so I would move that.
Seconded?
Is there a second?
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you, Warden Weber.
Yes, sorry, Tina.
No, it's okay. I have a question. It's not on the, it's not a discussion on the motion. It's separate from that, but it's still around Fire Advisory Committee. Is it the intention that the next meeting, which is the third Wednesday of November, that one of the agenda items will be the fire services report that we received? Okay, I'll just stay tuned and put it in my schedule to come out and sit in the audience then if it's on. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Audit Committee, I'll do that because it should be really simple. We just need the motion approved. So the approval of the consolidated financial statements.
I'll move that we approve them.
Second. I'll second that. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, I think it's close enough to our 9 o'clock appointment, which is 8.1 on your agenda. Carol and David?
Is it the one mic or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Both mics I can turn on.
all right.
We're not sitting far
You
apart
can-
because we don't like
you
each
can
other.
move- It'll
Okay.
catch, it'll still catch. There you go.
Thank you.
First time we actually meet in person.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Warden and members of council, for having us here today and to provide a presentation. I'm Carol Stavely. I'm at 123 Endeavour Avenue in beautiful East River Point.
And I'm David Noss at 7129-329, so just a bit farther down the road towards Blandford.
All right. And just to
Morning.
Hi. Just to confirm the format, you guys want us to get through our presentation, and then if there's any questions, we can leave those to the end. Is that okay?
Well, that works, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so the reason that we're here today is just to draw attention to some of the concerns that have been raised in our community about the proposed East River Point Bearland condominium development. So we're not here to oppose, people's rights to develop their land, but we are here to raise concerns about the nature, the size, and the location of this proposed project, and whether it conforms to the intent of the municipal planning strategy. So we just want to show how, adding 260 to 280 individual houses on a single lot in a rural community is likely inconsistent with the municipal planning strategy. Like I said, there have been some serious concerns raised in the community about the adequacy of infrastructure and services to support the size of development, about further deterioration of the local environment, the lack of suitability to the rural character of East River Point, and also some important and unnecessary risks that could be introduced to the municipality and its residents, most importantly, long-term safe water supply and road safety concerns. So we're here to review these in the next few minutes.
Okay, next slide. So this is just a synopsis of what we received at the public information session earlier in June. And it just highlights some of the key factors regarding the proposal. The aim was established to try to target the increasing demand in housing, in particular mid-range, 500, 600,000, on a parcel, 126 acres, that's currently undeveloped wilderness or forested at East River Point on the Aspatagan. Proposal was from 263 to 280. That could be changing, evolving, we're not certain, but also includes 9 units in a small commercial development on top of a small commercial development at the entrance. And so the planning application was submitted in May, as we understand it, and of course the processes are ongoing that we understand that will unfold in the future. And it's a bit of a unique, maybe it's unprecedented, I don't know, but it's a large development, and it's the development framework is a Bearland condominium. It's not a subdivision. So that's something that's
A little different, yeah.
caused us some concern. I have a short 8-second video that just shows an aerial of the lot itself. If you go to the next slide and click the video, if it, maybe not.
Maybe it didn't translate.
Oh, there it is, okay.
That looks like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Almost.
Oops.
Well, I'm sorry.
We'll skip that. That's okay. We'll
Okay.
take a quick look at the picture and then we can.
So that's not the land, that's, the distance is equivalent to what the land looks like beyond the housing, but that's not the actual lot there.
All right.
Okay.
So next, oops, sorry, yeah, next one, yeah. All right, so when we heard about this and we attended the information session, we just asked ourselves, can this fit into the existing municipal planning strategy? And so we went out, just started to review the municipal planning strategy and kind of came up with three areas, so starting with the shared goals, there are 3 of the 5 shared goals that are sort of the underpinning of the planning strategy, where we thought, this large of a urban type development in a rural area that's essentially undeveloped didn't seem to fit, but of course the goals are just the goals. And then we looked further into section 4.1, which really lays out the intent of the rural areas designation. And when we look at that and we read the fact that the rural areas designation is intended to encourage the continuation of a moderately changing and diverse rural landscape and to safeguard the natural environment, we're thinking, okay, so how does this type of project that if you spread it over 5 years, which is what we believe the developer was kind of indicating, they'd like it done within 5 years, that would supply 33% of the annual required housing for the entire municipality on one lot in East River Point. That represents 3% of the entire municipal population. So it's kind of like, this doesn't seem to fit, like the picture just doesn't seem to work in our minds according to the planning strategy. And so we're just trying to reconcile, this type of very large number of houses in a undeveloped place with no services or amenities essentially. So, and then again, following the municipal planning strategy, looking at development agreements and their role and how they're supposed to protect the municipality, understanding that they're intended to assess whether or not a development is premature based on service capacity, water supply, stormwater drainage, those kinds of things. So those are the things that really raised concern for us.
Thank you. Next slide. Very quickly, so Carol's touched on this. Our concern with this vis-a-vis requirements for the development is that the concentration and the density will be such that it's almost removing all of the ground cover, and then you're left with 280 dwellings with roofs, with driveways, with roadways, and that means a lot of runoff, water that won't necessarily be going into replenish aquifers. So when multiple wells are drilled, the potential risk of overdrafting is significant. Also, there's concentration of septic systems and risks if those aren't properly engineered and designed, any sort of sudden storm like we had in 2023 here in the village could significantly overwhelm and flow down stream towards the ocean. So the consequences are reduced recharge rates, water table depletion overall, soil erosion, and ultimately potential for costly mitigation for the residents, maybe the municipality and the province. There is no stormwater drain underneath the highway at the point where they are planning to do this, so that's I'm going to touch on that, on the factor addressing the highway. So what we know has to happen, but and we know we can advocate for this at the public hearing, but we're concerned and want to make sure that we see that the proper studies and so forth are carried out, so that the risk can be properly assessed and mitigated before anything proceeds. Next slide, please. I mentioned Route 329 in terms of stormwater. There's no culvert anywhere there right now. In fact, just near the Union Hall down from where I live a number of years ago, the same time that was washed out, and the culvert was washed out and had to be repaired by the province. So it's real. The route, Highway 329, 329. In particular, at that in East River community out to Blandford, that section, according to Dennis, who cuts my grass, hasn't been repaved since 1998. And I don't know what the plan is. I've written to the province and I'm waiting for an answer. I copied our MLA as well, and she's anxiously awaiting the answer as well. The problems that the highway has, the use has changed over time. There's a lot of tourism, cyclists, and so forth. It's old, it's narrow, it doesn't have shoulders, not that that's a requirement, I'm not sure. And with age and heavy use, the shoulders have eroded and it's risky. So it is a risk to public safety. I know that because when I walk on it, I'm scared when all these dump trucks going to the Tancook Ferry Terminal construction site carrying large rocks.
And we're cyclists as well, and, yeah, it is very scary if you show up after like 8 AM on a Sunday.
Bottom line is that we hope that a proper traffic impact analysis can be conducted, and I'm not sure if that's something that's done with the municipality and the province combined, or I think it's a third-party engineering contracted study to really assess the risks. As well, one last point, where they're proposing the entrances onto the highway are at a bend in 329, right at that area, and unfortunately last year someone was killed at that bend due to the normal risks and the speeding that happens along that route. Last slide I'm going to touch on in terms of factors before I turn it back to Carol is the rural area character and heritage. This is touched on quite a bit in the municipal growth strategy that consideration must be given to this. And so this is not a coastal community in the technical sense. It's a settlement. I call it an enclave to avoid any of the other terminology. It's evolved over time, 100 years, fishing, subsistence sort of living in the summer. People went off into the forests, and so it's low density, and now it's evolved a bit into more of an escape from the city for many people, or come from a ways, as they say sometimes. It's a tourism location with the beach, and such a large development plunked in the middle of this the geographic boundaries of the community has a potential to double or triple the population if it was realized as envisioned or proposed. That's a really significant impact on a really small community that has absolutely no services except for a shipyard. We just are really hoping that the intent of the municipal planning strategy is
Taken
attended
into
to
consideration.
in the reviews that will ensue. Carol.
Yes, so next slide, please. I won't spend a lot of time on here, but I think, we can all agree that putting a large-scale urban-type development in a mostly undeveloped rural area will have significant environmental impacts in an area that is bounded by, not far from two natural protected areas and about 250 meters from the shoreline, as I measured online. So there are some significant ramifications in terms of the ecosystem impact, the environment impact, the water, as David alluded to. And these are like real risks, especially in the context of changing climate. And they have the potential to cause very substantial harm and cost to the municipality and the residents. And so we really feel that in its current state, in its current form, this project really does not appear to be in the best intention, in the best interest of the municipality in our best estimation. All right, next slide, please. We're almost done. So we just want to, just to kind of summarize, basically, in its current form, with the intended location at this current time, this project appears to be inconsistent with the municipal planning strategy based on its potential threats to safe water supply, road safety, being inconsistent with the character and heritage of the local community, and can really create conditions that threaten not only the environment, but humans as well. And so we ask you to really take serious consideration when reviewing this proposal. And last slide.
Last slide. So this would be a summary of sort of the key takeaways, recommendations from each of the slides. As a group, as representatives of, we can't say everyone because we don't speak for everyone, but we want to.
Nobody does.
We have at least 25 so far who have signed on to our email group.
There's a list of items there that I won't read through that are all normal sort of requirements in these developments that sometimes, as I understand it, there's different levels of requirements that can be demanded, and this summarizes what we're hoping to see
Would
and
take into
what we'll be
consideration.
pushing for in the future. And one thing I will highlight, that I don't know how this can be addressed, but given, you know, the circumstances this summer with the dry weather and so forth, this poses also a forest fire risk in a sense, with that many people not only being placed in the middle of an area that hasn't been developed, but also because of the drying conditions. It's like they're removing the sponge of the forest from the middle of the Aspestoggin, and that's a concern for us that live nearby. So the last 2 points there are what we're hoping to see down the road. That's what our intent is. And ultimately, we're here today to socialize the concern that was animated at the public information session by some of our more colorful neighbors. And I think that you'll hear from us again, but I am confident, I know the processes that you go through, and we've been well schooled now in learning all of this, so I feel that I'm not concerned at all about the opportunities here to address this in an appropriate fashion moving forward. Just want to let you know that we're watching this thing, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you for coming in, and I mean, you brought up good points that we need to take into consideration during the process, but we're in the early stages. Council at this point doesn't
Oh, no.
have an opinion per se, because we don't come to a conclusion or opinion until after we've heard from everybody and all of it, so.
Absolutely.
So we've got to
we
sort of stay
understand.
relatively neutral until we get through the process.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions.
I can say a few things, I guess. We haven't actually gotten to the public hearing part of this
No,
process,
that's-
but I'm still around the community, and so far I haven't heard a lot of positive comments about this proposal. You've raised a lot of valid points. For us on a council, we have to compare the proposal against our
Rules.
our standards by which we measure these things. So things like heritage and character, although I think anecdotally it's easy to see that this is something that doesn't quite look like the other, if you will. It's difficult to determine what's acceptable and what's not, and I accept or reject a proposal based on those sorts of criterias. Traffic, however, has been a known issue on the 329 for many years. It's come to this council table countless times, especially in relation to cyclist safety, and I think that section, or at least part of that section, was repaved in 2014. But at that time, there was a promise by the provincial government to put paved shoulders wherever they could, but we didn't get 1 meter of paved shoulder. And, you know, I think discussions are ongoing with our sitting MLA to see if there's some way that we can get back to that and maybe even create a project to try to widen those shoulders eventually. There's some places on the 329 that there's rock formations and it's just impossible, but there's other places that it would be a big help. You raised issues of environment. Now, usually municipalities will leave environmental matters to the Department of Environment because we're not scientists. Although the concerns you raise are valid ones, and I don't know if there's a mechanism within our our policy why we can engage the department. But again, they have the same issue where they have to provide comment, favorable or unfavorable, based on some criteria, and that can be a challenge. Traffic, water, that's an easy one that, you know, any development we review have varying levels of demand for water. This one would be a very high demand, and I would expect this council would require a high bar
engineering
to
report,
ensure that there is an adequate supply, and that once the supply is withdrawn from the ground, that it's not going to impact neighboring properties. And there are engineering tests that can be undertaken to provide those proofs. I hope that this council would ask for those proofs. And at the information center session, I was speaking with the developer, and I asked why condo versus subdivision. And his response was that, it was a cost-driven decision because in a subdivision situation, first, you can't pack as much density in using on-site sewage regulation. So based on the depth of permeable soil, you can size lots, and you haven't got really deep permeable soils in this area, so lots for each dwelling unit would be a little more than double what's being proposed here, probably, best case scenario. And also the roads that are within the development have to be built to a municipal, like a standard which we specify in a subdivision context. And this is a classic trick that developers undertake by condominiumizing their land. Then they can build essentially a driveway, and they can build it to any standard. So, something that I think this council should consider is the impact on unregulated thoroughfares like this, that in the context of how you service it with emergency services, fire, ambulance, all that sort of thing, garbage, because it's not realistic to expect that these services are going to be administered at the boundary between the public highway and this very large development. So more question than answers at this point, but I think all your points are well taken, and I'm sure we'll hear more of the same sort of messaging from residents from what I'm gathering on the street. So anyways, thanks for coming in.
Anyone else, any questions, comments? If not, we're at the early stages, and appreciate your coming in and expressing your concerns, and
Thank you.
they're all things that we need to take into consideration, that's for sure.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Councillor Cool.
Excuse me, thank you very much. I just have a really quick question. I mean, this is our very first meeting. Thank you for coming in. Is there any compromise? Is it the size of the actual development? Is there a compromisable amount that would be sustainable or accepted from your pre-committee? Or is it just the actual location, the physicality of it, the impact on the highway, the impact on the environment? Like,
Not against development at all.
no, nor are we.
It's really all the risks that we
Yeah.
try to identify and
So
associate.
does that encapsulate the fact that it's so many? Is it the size of this proposed development?
It's the size and density
Yes,
and the
yes.
risks that presents,
Yeah.
given that this condominium context
Yes.
exacerbates those risks. And
So, yeah, it's the clear cutting, because if you look at the space per house, there won't be much room for any kind of greenery, which then exacerbates the stormwater issues and the water withdrawal as well. So it's really density. And, yeah, anything that would, spread it out more and allow nature to take place a little bit more, around each structure would make more sense in the context of a rural area, in our opinion.
It was a beautiful world.
And to be honest, if I may, as well, given the density, that also means a huge population increase in an
Yes.
area that hasn't,
Services.
it would, more than double the community. I don't,
Like to
Yeah,
keep
no one
that
can
quiet
say.
heritage.
yeah.
Well, it's just the availability of services and the safety of the road, this just,
Yes.
as the bigger the add of the population, the higher the risks, right?
And more need which is not available for.
Right.
for
It's like an elephant in a birdcage. Some things aren't meant to be, that's my,
Perfect.
I'm not against the development though.
Right.
One with,
Good development.
that can be
Thoughtful
properly
development.
Yes.
Yeah.
supported by, and sustainable, and minimizes risk to locals and to the municipality as a whole.
Yeah, and at this point, it doesn't seem like a good fit.
That's,
Okay. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Take care. Okay, so our next appointment isn't until 10, right?
Right.
Let me go back to where I was. And I'm on to 7.4, wherever that is. Okay, we're back to 7.4, Lunenburg County Senior Safety. Councillor Connors?
I was going to say, guess who? No, just want to make sure that I continue to include the monthly report that we receive as board members from the coordinator, and as part of our committee report process and structure and all of the above, I certainly include it, but it's, again, business as usual, so if there's any questions.
Okay, any questions? Oh. 7.5, memo to council, Lunenburg County regarding the regional committee appointments of, oh yes, you were going to do that, Aaron?
Yes, so the Lunenburg County Anti-Racism and Anti-Discrimination Advisory Committee have 2 vacant community member positions. As well, the Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee has 3 vacancies for community members. So on September 22nd, mayors and wardens met. They serve as a nomination committee for these 2 regional committees. And they recommend to the 5 different councils that council appoint Kelly Goody to the Anti-Racism and Anti-Discrimination Advisory Committee for a 1-year term ending March 31st, 2026. As well, Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee to appoint Linda Mills and Natasha Strickland, and reappoint Teresa Alexander Arab to the Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending September 30th, 2028.
Some,
Motion to approve.
yes, we do, yeah.
Motion to approve the appointment.
Seconder?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, 7.6, Anti-Racism and Anti-Discrimination Advisory Committee, change the terms of reference. And you're, oh, Sharon's doing that.
Yeah, thank you. I will take that. We met our first meeting in September, and just reviewing things, we went to appoint a chair. The committee felt that they would like changes because in the terms of reference, it said that a council had to be appointed. So in the interim, a councillor was appointed from Lunenburg Municipality, Allison Smith. However, the committee also recommended at the time that this come back to councils and asked for a change so that anyone on the committee could potentially be appointed to as a chair. They felt that it was a bit discriminatory, saying it was just council, and I know other committees have that. So that was the kind of took up a lot of time at the meeting, and we did review a few things, but for the most part, we were hung up a bit on that. So I would recommend that change to council, that we look at that.
So that would be not a motion, it's just a
A
recommendation.
recommendation.
You need a motion.
Motion.
Yeah, it would change the terms of reference. So all 5 councils would have to approve the change to the terms of reference.
Well, I would make the recommendation for our council to make that change,
Okay, do we
so
have
that
a s-
anyone on the committee could act as chair, not just a
You don't have to
council.
be. Okay, do we have a seconder? Seconded. Okay, you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I'm just, I'm kind of surprised at this communication, to be honest with you. Usually appointing a chair for a committee is not an onerous one, and once one is selected, you know, life goes on. And the chair's role is not to influence the discussion, it's just to moderate the discussion. And especially in something that could be like I would expect a committee like this could in times become a bit emotionally charged, or, you know, having people on a committee that have at least some experience in governance, I think is valuable. I fail to see what the reason would be to change the committee terms of reference. Honestly, there's no, what's wrong with having an elected official chair the meeting? Like that, I just saying that you say discriminatory, and in what way?
No, Sharon, you know, you were there.
Well, I was there. They felt that right from the get-go, they were left out of the discussion. They couldn't be appointed as chair. And they felt that it just, the perception that they weren't equal. I'm sorry, it's,
I don't know, I mean,
It would seem like it's going off the rails already.
we
we have
hope,
lots of committees where it's not an elected official that's the chair. So I don't see the difference myself.
Yeah, I guess that the fact that this has become an issue on day one suggests that this is the place where you're gonna need somebody with some experience as the chair. I disagree with this change, and that, you know, something like this, this is not the first time that this committee has been established. I have knowledge that originally this committee was attempted to be formed for the town of Bridgewater specifically, and their committee, they lost control of their committee a bit. And later on, they rolled it up into the regional committee. And I think having a steady hand on the tiller is not a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's not as I would expect. The warden here is not here to influence the direction of the conversation. It's only to maintain order and make sure that you adhere to the terms of reference that the committee has been mandated. And that's the big risk with a committee like this, is that it tends to take on a life of its own, and they can become, instead of helping us to develop policy, become activists. And that's not our role here, and that's not why this committee was first set up. So I'm opposed to this change. I don't think it makes sense. And you know, if the motion goes forward and is approved, then that's fine. I'm not gonna get too upset about it, but I just think it's not a good idea if on day one, you know, we're already getting emotional about who's gonna be the chair.
Somebody, who had their mic on first? Tina or Sharon?
I'm not sure. They're not queuing, so.
Oh, okay. Okay, you first then.
I'll just comment. I guess it was an issue right off the get-go, but the committee members felt that this committee should be inclusive and diverse, and it kind of goes against the grain of what they believe in. And there are counselors that sit at the table from all municipalities, Town of Bridgewater, Town of Lunenburg, District of Lunenburg, District of Chester. So I feel there is a balance there. So who's the chair? To me, it doesn't, you know, make a lot of difference. I think we, you know, when topics come up, we can certainly, you know, we're there to discuss as well. I think we could not keep it under control, but that's not the term. But I think I don't have any problem changing this.
Tina?
Thank you. So certainly while I do respect Councillor Vino's weigh in here and his opinion and thoughts and belief on this, I disagree in that I am in favor of the motion, and certainly anyone who moves or seconds a motion, it's not indicative necessarily if they're going to vote in favor, but I'm just stating that now. And I actually, I commend the committee. I don't see it as an issue, I see it as an opportunity, and I commend the committee for picking that up in terms of the fact of, you know, they've reviewed, they aren't just, you know, as Councillor Bino has referred to over the years, and many times with us or anybody, just a nodding, you know, donkey or individual, like they've actually paid attention. They've seen this on the agenda. They've taken the opportunity to review that terms of reference, and they see it as an opportunity. I don't see it as an issue. I saw it as an opportunity to review that and put forward that change. And I also have certainly as we all do, have had the experience of sitting on committees from our time on council and our volunteer roles, and citizens are fully capable. No more, no less than me, sitting here as a councillor, to be honest, and I have full faith in that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. What? Okay, we still have time. 9.1, request prepared, second and final notice, adoption of communicating to council and committee policy, which we sort of went over first thing this morning.
Oh, you missed
Aye.
7.8, sorry.
I missed 7.8.
Yeah, I think I missed 7.8, I don't have it.
It's not on my agenda,
No, it's not on mine either, sorry, Pam, yeah. You're good.
okay? Oh, no, well, I'm on to, yes, second.
Sorry, that was my, yeah, you're.
Second
okay.
final notice of tax exemption policy for annual update. 9.2.
Erin, are you speaking to this one?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Yes, I can. 9.1?
Yep.
Okay. Yep, so this is,
9.1, oh yeah, second final notice of communicating with council, yeah.
yes, so this is an adoption of communicating with council and committees policy that council received at the last council. So first notice has been given for this one, so it's simply a motion to adopt the policy as set out in attachment A of this report.
Which is what we asked for.
I'll make that motion.
Seconder. Moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Tax exemption, 9.2. Oh, there we go. The money guy.
Morning, Council. Yep, this is the request for approval of the amended tax exemption policy for low-income residents, just to finally approve the amendments that were presented on September 11th. So if there are any questions, happy to go through it. Otherwise, we've already gone through all the details.
We've already been there, done it. Does anybody get any questions before I ask for a motion to approve? Motion. Seconder? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, thank you.
9.3, can we, yeah, we can still do that in relatively short order.
Yep.
Morning, Council.
Morning.
So for this report is just to bring some information for you related to our subdivision and sewer bylaw, as well as our municipal specifications projects that we're working on. And if council remembers, just as outlined in the report there, that we've been going through our planning documents and having them updated. So we have our municipal planning strategy is updated and completed, and our village plan review is now done. And so the next part of our planning documents is that subdivision bylaw, which was identified as needing to be updated. And so not having that updated is causing some issues lately, just with some things that we run into going through the subdivision process with local property owners. So as kind of outlined in the report, we've kind of given you an overview and copies of the scope of work for both of those projects. And they are currently advertised right now, but one of the really important pieces of especially the subdivision bylaw project is the public engagement portion of that. And so we have identified that we have asked for a minimum of 3 public engagement sessions to take place, in addition to probably some focus group work that will happen with some of our local contractors and developers and surveyors that are typically involved with our subdivision process. And so we do know that there are some elements of subdivision that the public will be very, very interested in. And we've identified a couple of those in here. One is the requirement for the open space. And so I know council is very familiar with some of those cases in the past where we have gotten some of those parcels of land that we've been required to accept that council wasn't really crazy about and didn't have a lot of value, but because of the way that our bylaw is written, we were required to accept them. And so we'll obviously be wanting to focus some of the changes on that one. So that would be one of the larger ones. But one of the ones that would perhaps have some more public interest is, and that is as it relates to private roads and just some of the challenges that we go through with private roads. And I know you are all familiar with the volume of private roads that we have and how subdivision takes place in relation to those. So the public engagement will be important. Again, we're looking for feedback from council on, is 3 meetings sufficient? Do you think that's appropriate? Would you like to see more? So that's essentially what we're here this morning to make you aware that this work is being undertaken and it's coming up very quickly, and that we would like to get your feedback on that public engagement portion of that project.
How are we informing the public of it at this point?
So
There's no mail.
That's yet to be determined. So we haven't selected a consultant yet. So we're a little bit away from public engagement. So we'll be working with our consultant to determine exactly when that will take place. I guess everyone has their fingers crossed that the mail strike would be over prior to the public engagement happening, because obviously we want to get the word out there prior with lots of notice so that people are aware that these sessions are taking place.
So are we satisfied with the process that he's put forward?
Just 3.
Okay, then
3 sessions are appropriate.
if we made a motion, then it would be official that we were happy.
I just, if I could add, so you would,
there you
this,
go.
sorry, this is more targeted towards, for builders and developers or general public, and, with these publics, obviously open to the public, but.
Yeah, no, these were, so those will be separate. So we'll do, any of those folks that we've identified that are kind of involved with subdivision, like our surveyors and developers, we'll have a separate session, for them. So what we're interested in is those
Just
public sessions.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. And just, if there's any questions about the subdivision, bylaw itself, or just kind of those pieces we're looking at, we've made sure that Heather is here with us as a development officer, and she's the one, our development officers are working with this stuff on a daily basis. And so we do have kind of a laundry list of those things that we've identified that have been problematic over the course of the last number of years. And so, and so we're, we will be presenting that to the consultant to ensure that those items are identified, but we just know that private road ones in particular was one that stands out as being quite problemac over the last little bit.
Okay, so can we have a motion to, sorry.
I'll make the motion, but, that we proceed. But, I do have a question about the private roads. When you say standards, are you thinking more like the geometry of the road, or is it the construction standards, or how do you envision that this will roll out? Because, we can now create up to 6 lots off of a private road, which is not unique, but it's not super common these days. But it actually is from a development standpoint, it is a benefit to working within our boundaries, because it allows small developers the ability to do some development without getting into the onerous requirements of design roads, which are that can be difficult if you only want to do a few lots.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that we're doing that's really important.
We have a motion on the floor. I better get a seconder before
Okay.
we get too far into this. Okay, okay.
Now we're discussing.
Okay, now we'll discuss. So the municipal specifications is really important, as is the sewer bylaw. And so the subdivision bylaw and sewer bylaw, we've kind of packaged together as one project, and the municipal specifications that have all those details on as you would have seen in the scope of work. So it goes beyond roads and gets into our sewer systems and water systems and all those kind of things. So those they all work interchangeably, and so that's why we're doing all these kind of at the same time. So in relation to the number of lots off private roads, it's important for Heather to be here to kind of outline that for you.
You're definitely not wrong. It does give small developers an opportunity to develop some of their larger lands and sell that for profit. What we're running into is a couple things. One, right now, if you are a private landowner on a private road, you really have no idea if you can subdivide until we do an entire road review of whatever the length is. Because we do limit it based on criteria. So that's a starting point for property owners, is that they can't even necessarily plan until they reach out to us to do that. The other piece that comes up quite a bit is emergency access and our solid waste access, right? Because of the fact that we would literally allow them a private road with just a right-of-way. There's no standard for that at this point. It could be a field, it could be a wooded lot, and they would still get approval, and it's up to them to determine how those lots get accessed after the point. I've had several conversations with Bruce around emergency access and fire trucks and what happens with those. That has insurance impacts on property owners. So in my mind, my hope is that we find a better balance, right? Without deeply requiring people to invest heavily, but if there's a way to say, clear it
You have
out,
to
a
do at
minimum
least
amount,
this.
so that, exactly, so that we can get in and get your garbage and emergency
And
access.
those are noble aspirations. The challenge, I think, comes sometimes when we have, by the nature of a private road, we can set standards on, like construction standards for roads, but it really comes down to the maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other piece. we
That's
were
the
hoping
issue.
for as
So,
well.
for example, the municipality of District Lunenburg, probably 7 or 8 years ago, 7 years ago, undertook the same exercise to allow, to apply standards to their construction of new private roads, to great chagrin of the developers that were working in that area.
Yeah,
And their level of policing by the municipality during that construction process, you know, that was one point of pain for both parties, I think. But then, if really the objective is to allow trucks to access those roads, that's starting that year one is one thing, but what does that road look like on year 10 if no maintenance has been carried out? So, you know, if we're gonna proceed with this, I hope that staff will also look at it through the lens of long-term sustainability of these roads. Because, you know, it's not so much about setting it up, it's there must be maybe enacting some sort of agreement or something like
Yeah.
that. Or ensuring that there's a homeowners association in place whereby, you know,
Maintain,
you can
yeah.
have, if you have so many complaints from the waste collectors that it triggers a review, or some sort of, maybe almost like our unsightly premises where, you know, we'll have to upgrade the road at your property owner's
Yeah.
expense or something like that.
yeah,
You
I've
know,
got some
if you-
thoughts on.
Yeah, something
similar
like that,
to
because
how you
that's
approach that.
really the problem. And so sometimes the developer can be saddled with a lot of requirements to build a road to a high standard. And in the end, it doesn't actually solve the problem of getting trucks back that road 15 years from the time that he's gone,
Yeah.
or she. So think about that. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, and so I think that's why we knew that the public engagement portion would be important, because if we start talking about some of those things, long-term maintenance, you know, thinking about, you know, if we're doing subdivisions and those emergency, those alternate routes, we're all familiar with the wildfires and, you know, and some of the situations that was in Tantallon with, you know, one way in, one way out, you know, so all of those topics will be part of this discussion, and so, yeah, really, really important topics, for sure.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay, our next appointment is at 10 o'clock, so we're gonna take a 13-minute break.